Hello, everybody, and welcome back for the second segment of the October 15th Trips and Traps. Andy Serling once again with Eric Donovan.
3 more races to bring you, and we'll start off with one of our Grade 1 stakes from the past Saturday. This is the FRIZETTE, and we're going to take a look at Our Heat Lightning, who breaks from the inside here.
I think at this point, Our Heat Lightning is every wise guy's horse for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies, because even though she finished a second here, this is coming off her win the Spinaway. She's a horse that showed some real attractability and a different dimension in this race than her perfect trip win in the Spinaway. She ran very well to be second.
Overcome some adversity, and the 1 mile start on the main track here at Belmont, especially with young horses, if you're breaking inside, you got that temporary rail right inside you. It can just be very confusing, and you see there, actually after recovering, Our Heat Lightning has to steady a little bit, gets a little bit rank and behind horses. I think this is going to be a great educational experience for Our Heat Lightning moving forward. In
all ways. I mean, she got the experience. She ran very, very well. It's a totally different dynamic, too, than her Spinaway. In her Spinaway, she broke from the outside post. Mm-hmm. She got a super fast pace to close into it. She just had the easiest kind of trip for the victory. And that was a race that was hard to really like her a lot. In this race off it, even though she won, simply because she had so much go her own way. And it's so interesting that things went so differently for her in here, yet she still ran very well and ran much better than she did in the Spinaway. And it's going to be a very hard horse to ignore going to Churchill Downs.
And the winner of the race, AZ Warrior, up pressing the pace along the outside for Bob Baffert, another horse that he had come over here to run much better on the dirt than had been running on synthetics at California. But the story here, in our opinion, is Our Heat Lightning, who gets shuffled back a little bit here at this point. A long shot leader up on the front end, starting to back up a little bit, and Johnny Velasquez has to wait for a little bit of room here at the top of the stretch before angling her outside.
Yeah, you really do wonder if she had broken clean an outside post, if she would have lost this race. Now, the winner's geared down a little bit at the end, AZ Warrior. She also may be getting a little bit tired. She's a horse that you wonder if she'll be quite as effective in the mile and 16th at Keeneland. It hasn't exactly been the most impressive, stellar bunch of 2-year-old fillies and fast horses we've seen so far. And we're taking nothing away from the winner's performance because she did run very well in her first dirt race. On the other hand, it's hard to argue that Our Heat Lightning, all things considered, just ran as well, if not better, because she had a much tougher trip. She'll be tough in the Breeders' Cup.
I love the way she finished up, too, once she got clear in the stretch. We'll move on and take a look at the Gold Trader maiden race on the turf, where it's race number 7 from October 10th, the number 8 horse.
Yeah, and this was one of the favorites in this race, a Shug McGay Phipps horse, and you can see in sort of outside of horses in those familiar black silks with the red hat out here. A very different story here for Gold Trader. In Gold Trader's first start, he was way, way back the whole way and made a nice run at the end to finish 4th. This race is much closer. It's important to note this was a pace, though, that held together the whole way around. But Gold Trader's trouble is in the stretch. He's never able to get clear.
Never able to get clear, and the long shots that are running 1-2 in here, Humble and Hungry, Laconic will stay that way to the wire. And actually, a horse that was 4th in the early going, Dax, who's close up here at 90-1, manages to finish 3rd. So that's just more evidence that the pace does hold together here. And horses that were trying to rally from farther back up against it. And we did see that Gold Trader was up, closer to that pack in front of him earlier on. Dropped back a little, now a couple lengths behind those 2 horses in front of him.
Yeah, I mean, sitting in the middle of the pack and in a good spot. But we've seen this before, and it's a question of a rider marrying himself to the rail in these Widener turf course races, and marrying him to the rail just gets in a lot of trouble because as he tries to angle out into the stretch, the door gets closed on him, and then he sort of hips right hand and ducks back towards the inside. And these horses, believe it or not, regardless what a lot of people may think, in general, a lot of horses don't really want to commence their rallies and make their rallies inside of horses. Some horses will, but many won't. And it seems to me that Gold Trader is one that wanted to be out in the clear, as a lot of horses, especially ones that want to come rolling late, try to do. And you see down on the inside, now Prado wheels out the outside, wants to get out. He has the right instinct, obviously, but this horse on his flank out here is keeping him in. So he does, and then the horse in front of him drifts a little bit. He's forced to go inside, and he seems to be going nowhere here, but he ends up doing some running at the end.
Once he gets on track late here, I thought this was a good effort here by Gold Trader. And at mid-stretch, I'm thinking, well, there's really no finish to this horse. Am I really going to be too excited about betting this horse next time out? But once he gets to the rail and gets straightened out down on the rail, I thought he finished up real well into the teeth of a very slow pace.
Yeah, and with the weather we've had, these courses, they may be listed firm, but they're never going to be that hard. And we'll get to Aqueduct, and he'll get another chance here, whether it's here or Gulfstream. He's okay, this horse. He didn't really have a fair chance, Gold Trader, both from a dynamic standpoint and considering the trouble he had in the stretch.
Okay, one more race to bring you on Trips and Traps. We'll go to race number 6 from the 11th, looking at the rail horse, Super Angelo.
Yeah, it's a situation. I'd love to get a situation with Super Angelo when it appears that he is, and here he is seeing uncomfortable, and you can see the rider grabbing him here, and we're going to show the head on afterwards and show you exactly what happened. And, of course, it involves the 3 horse going to lead. like to see Super Angelo get in a race where there isn't a ton of pace on paper because he's a very, very, very fast horse early, as he evidenced in his race before this. In here, he's eliminated the break after breaking a step slowly, loses all chance whatsoever.
He does, and just gets put in a position where he's got to actually have to rate and try to come from behind, whereas in his other two starts he's been up close early on. I kind of disagree with you. I'd like to see a race with him where there's a little bit more speed, because maybe he'll get overlooked a little bit with some other speed, because I think he's really quick, and if he breaks cleanly, he's going to go right to the front.
That's a reasonable argument. Here he is sitting back here, just so you know where he is in the yellow. That's an interesting argument. I hear what you're saying, because he could outrun a lot of horses. They better be fast.
Because if he's low in speed, people are going to see he's low in speed, and he's going to be bad. But if there's a couple other horses that have speed, he might get overlooked a little bit.
Yeah, that's a very interesting point. I like that idea, actually. This is a race that comes apart also. The winner of this race was a first-time start for Mike Trompetta that came from way, way back. And we'll cut to the headlines. There's nothing to show in the stretch. The rider sort of gave up, and just realizing he was hopelessly beaten. There's no reason to beat up on a horse that wasn't going anywhere. But you see him break, a fraction of a second slowly, but then the 3-horse comes over and just eliminates him he actually clips heels, and he almost goes down for a second there, loses all chance to start there. Give Super Angelo one more chance if you think he's in the right spot.
Yeah, I think definitely a horse that you'll have to look out for, especially during the winter once we get down to the end of track. Hopefully he's graduated on from the maiden ranks. But
he'll be well past his maiden by then anyway. Once again, we always love hearing your thoughts. We could use all the help we can get. Trips and traps at NYRA.com, and we'll see you soon. Thanks a lot.